Hey everybody, welcome to Scribbles with Jonathan. So this one here, this video is the productivity video I was talking to you guys about, and this is sort of the pocket or the small version, the condensed version of sort of what I do and what tools I use to, at least in my opinion, stay as productive as I can possibly be, and it's helped me out in tremendous ways, and that's why I wanted to share it with you guys. But like I said, this one, hopefully, I'm going to try to just run through this stuff and give you a quick example, at least a example of how this software is pretty cool. But you can also click somewhere around here. I'm going to pop up a little annotation for. I think we got up to about 50 minutes. It's a little beefier of a one. She's kind of heavy. She's kind of heavy of a video. But there, I sort of go into a lot more, I would say, of just what's really cool about each piece of software and how it all really interconnects with what I do and all that sort of stuff. The thing that would be in a larger video. So without further ado, let's get into this. Let's just lightning bolts through this sort of stuff here. So the first thing that I want to bring to your guys' attention is the general workflow itself, which was presented to me in a book called Getting Things Done by David Allen. And I highly recommend you guys check this out. If you guys don't like reading, which you should, you need to start reading. And I'm going to start slapping wrists. Start reading some more books, okay? If you don't like to read this, by all means, there's Cliff Notes versions and tons of videos online talking about the actual workflow. Check it out. It's changed my life dramatically on how this sort of stuff comes together. This is the breakdown of the actual, you can see here, it's a workflow diagram of what that book sort of talks about. And the general idea is you capture ideas throughout your entire day, your life. They can be art ideas. You need to change your oil in your car, just stuff that comes in, right? And you need a place to keep all this stuff so that you can go to it and start processing these things individually, as opposed to dealing with every single task that comes in your life on the spot. Some things need to be addressed right away, like you just got a flat tire, you got to address that. But scheduling an oil change, that's a thing that can be dealt with, right? So changing my mind into that sort of idea has freed me up to work on projects more by giving myself the time to do those things, and then like I do this process here about at least every other day, if not every day. And Sunday, which I'm recording these videos on, I do this once a week no matter what. There's a little bit of a different process, which I won't get in with you guys here. It's talked about in this book. It's called the weekly review. But this is how you'll do all your stuff. You'll get an idea, let's say an idea for a project, and it comes in and you start acting on it, okay? So you can pause the video, read this stuff. It might sink into you. But again, I just want to show you guys this because the next stage that we're going to go into here is I'm going to show the actual software I use for these bits and pieces, okay? And then I'll show us an example of how I would normally actually use these sort of things, okay? So the three actual, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 pieces of software that I use to keep this all going, which are all available for your smartphones as well, and you can totally do this on paper. You don't have to be digital. You can do it on paper. Is a program called Todoist, not to-do list, Todoist, Google Calendar, Trello, and Evernote. Okay, so we're going to go through each one of these right now, and then I'll show the example. So Todoist, it's basically a to-do list, and this is sort of this part of the workflow right here, the inbox stuff. Anytime I get an idea, I find a website online, all that sort of stuff, bang, all goes into my to-do list that I have to find time in the day, again, once a day, whatever, to process these things. They can be ideas, they can be things I need to do, they can be reference, all sorts of things I something I want to remember, okay, and then I can deal with it later. That's the point of the Todoist. It also lets me know if things are due today. I also like to do that as well. And this is mostly geared on life stuff, but Trello, which we'll get into right now, this one's more project based. Why I was looking for a piece of software like this is I was doing this with paper just a few weeks back actually. And I shared it with you guys, and it worked out wonderfully. The problem is when you work, for me anyway, when you work with paper, if something needs to be changed, it's a process, right? You either need to erase it, if hopefully you didn't draw in pen, which you probably did, but you need to redo the whole thing and all that stuff. Again, apples, oranges, you work with what you like. But what's cool about this is this lets me know the one thing that I've always felt that's always weighed on the back of my head, which is what the hell am I working on? Some people might not have this problem at all, and that's awesome. But the more you do art, hopefully it's a problem you have a lot of, because that means you're working. You know what I mean? You're getting your paychecks and you're getting out there and doing that stuff. But it could be anywhere from somebody hired you to do a cover, you want to do a portfolio, you want to do studying, you want to do personal projects, you want to research, you want to watch new or learn new tools, projects, right? Not necessarily tasks, but things that are a project, art related. That's what I use Trello for. And you can see I have some stuff in here really quickly. And we're going to go through this as well. Actually, the example I have, I don't think we go through this, so I'll try to remember to go through this with you guys. But from here, I can have just a sort of, I'll just give you a quick rundown of how this workflow goes. So cold projects are things that I have that I don't know if we're going to be moving on it yet. Somebody asked me, they want me to do a comic, but we're still working out maybe the rate, how much I'm going to get paid for it. Well, that's a cold project. I can put it in here. It's still on ice. We're working on it, but it is something that could be something. So I definitely keep track of it in here. I also, inside of these things, you can click on them, right? Like Jessup King, I can click on here, and there's a whole bunch of things. There's nothing really in here right now, but I can make comments, and it'll save all that stuff. And that comment could be, I last contacted so-and-so this date. So when I go in here and I look, I can sort of see, okay, I need to move on that. But most of the times, if that were to happen, it goes in this next spot of waiting. And waiting is exactly what it says. I could have done something and finished something, but in this case, this here is a patron reward here. And all I'm waiting for this person is an email address so that I can send them their I won't say prize or gift. Their thing. Give them their art. Okay? So that's waiting. I'm waiting on them. And that's where leaving a comment of, oh, I talked to them this date. Go in here and check it so that this is going to sit in here until something happens, right? So I can go in there and go like, oh, I haven't talked to them for 2 weeks. I'm going to send them just going to tap them on the shoulder and make sure everything's okay. Maybe they didn't get the email and all that sort of stuff. It sort of keeps me on task of all the things that are happening, all the many people that we talk to. There's very few of us that can remember the conversations without having to read like an email to know how that all went. Hot projects is the opposite of cold. It's things that I'm working on right now, things that need to get done. And then I put deadlines in there, all that stuff. Then I move those, and this is the thing too, I should just show you. You can actually just click and drag and move these wherever you want. That's what makes this really powerful, because I can quickly move things without, again, pieces of paper. You got to adjust some stuff, for me anyway. So for this month, for March, I need to get all this done. These are all things I need to do. I can have in here like little I believe, I just want to make sure something, I know I have stuff in here that's not, I guess we could click on here. I don't think there's any private information here. No. So I have checklists for things that I need to do, so I can quickly open this up and see like how much progress I'm doing on this, like all these things I need to do by the end of this month. Okay. And there's a little like, I like this here. It shows me like the productivity that I have. 1 out of 13 things. It's due the 31st. We're about halfway through, so I need to really push heavy on this project here. Okay, but then I move these into like the week. So this is March 7th to the 13th. These things you can see I need to do these today, so those have to be done today because that's the due date for them. But these other things I also need to start hacking away at, because next week this guy's coming in and more projects are kind of rolling in. I'll also change the date up here. So today, since it's Sunday, I go through all this workflow to make sure I'm caught up on everything, just as like one big fell swoop through everything to make sure everything's cool. I'll change this to March 14th to March whatever the week is, and we just go from there. And it's really cool. The other thing is once a project's done, you can, it's not deleting it, you archive it. So you can always go back and check it out, because you never know. Sometimes you work with a really kick-ass client and you want to make sure you work with them again, or at least try to. So you can archive that project and you can always go back when you remember, or, right, you can make a note in Todoist right now, right? We could just quickly go like, reach out to Steve to see if they need more work done. Right? So I just finished the project with Steve, and we'll say, you know, maybe it's appropriate if I go up here and I can go into like our calendar and go like, you know, maybe it's not, you know, we just finished on today, so maybe in 2 months, at the end of May. Cool. Add task. So I know that when May that comes around, that's going to show up in my to-do list and go like, oh, right, Steve. I kind of forgot about Steve. Maybe I didn't. You know, who knows how life goes. And that's one of the really powerful things about just doing this, because now it's a reminder that, oh, maybe there's more work. And if you're doing freelance work, that's huge, right? Because you always want to, there's one thing to get work from people, but to continual work, it goes both ways. You want to be that artist that has people coming to you all the time, and that's the best you could have it. But you're also sort of like, you got to be a business person as well. You got to go out there and work for that money, right? And that's one little quick trick that you can have in there to keep getting reference from there. Also, what I'll do, and this is going to link a little bit into the last one here, Evernote, which is, if you look, which one did I just click on? RPG, yeah, that's it. So right here, description, I make an Evernote project, and I link it so that I can click this, and all the things that we've talked about that needed to be kept as reference is in this ticket. So let me open this up. This is the desktop app of Evernote. You can check this out online. The web version does look better, but I like this one. It runs a little bit better since it's on my computer. So I hated Evernote. I tried it a couple times, never worked for me, until somebody talked to or just referenced it as only use it as reference, and it works just that well in the getting things done method. So a quick example would be, just so you can get started with Evernote to see the power of it, is what's your boyfriend, or your, we'll just say a girlfriend in this case, what's your girlfriend's ring size? What's her shoe size? What's her favorite movie? What's your brother's favorite video game? What's your dad's favorite car? Who's your dad's favorite sports team? What's your license plate? What's your favorite cookie recipe? What's like the top 10 movies you want to watch in the next month? Reference, right? That's all this is used for. That's it. And then you can watch the other video to sort of go into how I go into it a little bit more. But if you look, this is how I basically knock it out here. I've got a notebook that's just for projects, which if you looked at what we did before, the RPG cards, I have a project in there so that I have all our reference with images and things, so I don't always have to look anywhere. It's all here. That's all I ever need to do. Reference is those things like girlfriend's ring size. So who cares? What's that mean? Well, maybe Valentine's Day is coming up, and you don't normally get jewelry for your lady, and maybe you just want to get her a nice little ring. Nothing fancy, just a little ring, right? So instead of doing all that, and this might sound tacky, but for me, it helps me. So whatever. But it's like instead of trying to get clever and on the spot, like a week or two before Valentine's Day, right, guys? You know how we do this, and you start to go, oh, maybe I want to get a ring because it's on sale or something, but how am I going to figure out the ring size? You could get the ring and you could, give it to her and then say they can get it resized. That's not a huge deal. I know that. But it'd be nice to just go, oh, it's this. Cool. Here you go. And it fits, right? And it's something that, you can work into. And it's always in here. It's always a reference that you can have. Or maybe it's your dad's birthday coming up and I have no idea what to get him for his birthday. And you go in and you look under dad or gift ideas or something, whatever notebook you have for your reference. And you go in there like, yeah, Dad likes this, but oh yeah, when we were out that day, Dad was talking about golf clubs. I hate using sports for guys, but golf clubs. Those are expensive, but oh wow, he did talk about these new golf balls that he had that he just really likes. So now you got an idea, right? And that's the thing that's awesome because it keeps reference together. It's just reference. That's all it is. Because you never know when you need reference. A really off the topic here, and we're going to move on really quickly. Of just an idea for reference is I took a picture of the style light bulb I have over my sink, and I was out and about. Went to I think it was Canadian Tire, and I never really go there for anything. And I was just scrolling through really quickly, and I was noticing, oh yeah, those light bulbs I can get. I don't know what it looks like, so I went there and I took a picture with the model number, and I'm like, it's perfect. That's all I need. I didn't have to go. The light bulb's out. Take it out. Now I need to go and do this now. It's getting things when you have the time, and then you can deal with them as you go. Okay, so that's how I use Evernote, just as a place to house project and client projects itself, and then just like general reference as well as art tutorials and things like that. And that's what I'm going to show as a quick example on I have Pinterest open here. I'm going to show you that. And the last one for Google Calendar, is this is the top of everything. If something is scheduled, it's going to get done. But when my workday starts, I'll come in here and I'll look, what do I have coming up this week? What's important? What do I need to make sure I do, right? And as long as it's here, I can go ahead and just plug it into Todoist so I don't forget or anything like that. There's also a website that I'm a part of. It's free as well. It's called If This Then That. And what you can do is they're called recipes. So in this case, it's if I make an appointment or a task here on a calendar, then make a task in Todoist. So if all I need to do is punch it in here, and then when I come back to here, it's going to be a task ready to go, and I can drag it and move it to wherever I need to go. Okay, so how do we do this? What's a good example? So I've got Pinterest open up here, and I just typed in character design. I highly recommend you guys check out Pinterest if you're not. This was a site I never really got too much into. Same with Instagram, but Pinterest is more, it's a little different. Massively amazing. Sometimes I'll get a coffee to start my day and I'll just scroll through, I'll pick something, and I'll just scroll through and I'm finding stuff that's just awesome. There's so many things here that we can pick. But I'm just going to take a quick scroll, see things that I like. Things are like, there's a lot here that I'm just, man. That's the problem with this stuff. You just want to keep scrolling, right? It's so good. So I actually really like this here, this might not seem like, this looks like something I would be able to use really well for at my day job. We do mobile games, a lot of this sort of stuff, but the design on that's really cool. Or maybe I just, I think I really like that color palette. That's some nice stuff, right? So I could just save just this, which is what I would normally do. But what I want to do here is I want to just take it to the, no, you know what? We'll do that. We'll do that. I was gonna say we're gonna go to the next step just to make sure some other stuff. But for now, I really like this image, right? I'm just gonna right click here and just go add to Todoist. And you're gonna see it's just gonna pop up. All right, good to go, buddy. And there's also some like little add-ons you can get on Google Chrome, which I recommend for Evernote and Todoist. I won't get into that now. You guys can do some research on that on your own. But I'm just gonna click here, and for whatever reason, it goes into today. Sometimes it takes a little second, and it'll pop in here, right? Or let's just go down here, see if it showed up. Nope. Okay. Sometimes it just takes a little bit. Let's try to refresh it. Sync it up. This is the buzzkill. Okay, so anyway, just imagine. I'm sure it'll pop up soon anyway. But imagine what it would do is, since I made a task, it's going to show up here, okay? And what I can do is I can click on that and it'll take me to wherever, right? So that task that I would click on, it would take us to this. Okay, that's the idea of Todoist. It captures a spot. So what would I do now that I've clicked that? Now I'm like, okay, well, I have this in my Todoist. I need to deal with it. So I click on it. This is the task that comes up. So what is this? Why am I looking at this now? Why did I capture this information? Well, this is artwork that I really dig. I really enjoy that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to put it in a place where I use reference. Now, some people might just default and put this in Evernote. Go ahead, do your thing. And again, take what I'm showing you here and just play, pull, use, take what you want, get rid of what you don't like, that sort of stuff. But for me, I can just gather everything into Todoist and then have that filter process myself. So I'm going to go into the Evernote web clipper, which is like an add-on you get that's all free as well. And what I'm going to do for here is I'm just going to take this little screenshot. I don't need the whole thing. I just need, what's here. So we're going to sync here and it's going to clip there. So if we go over to our desktop here, I'm just going to sync just to make sure. I hope this one works a little bit quicker than the Todoist one was. There we go. Cool, right? So at the end of the day or at the end of the week, usually the end of the week is when I start organizing my reference, but I'll click so I can see here and I'm like, oh, wow, this is really nice. I like that stuff, right? That's cool. That's why I kept it for some point. So what you can do here is I'm just going to change the title of this. Does this person have a name? Photo by Zincas Pablo Hernandez. So he has a name. So I'm going to put his name as the artist on here. Pablo Hernandez. Awesome. Right. Then the next thing you can do, which is actually really cool, is you can add tags. So when you go back to search for the stuff, it's always in there, So I like this because it's concept art, it's character, it's art. Maybe I'll put his name in there too, in case, who knows, I might start following this artist at some point. I really like it. And this is taking no time here. We're just putting in things that we think this is, right? I'm going to put cartoon, because it's cartoony and simple. Simple design. That makes a little bit more sense, okay? So I have in there. Now, under here, this is where it's all putting it. Again, remember I told you about that inbox. Everything is in an inbox until it's filtered out. So now that I have it in here, I can click here, and I can go down. I've got projects here and reference. This is where this is going. This is going right here. Artist and inspiration. Click that. Boom. Moves it over there. So the next time, or whatever, whenever I start a project or anything, the first thing I usually do, whenever I start like projects and stuff, is I'll look through my artist and reference file in Evernote, because I know there's been at least one point where I've stumbled upon art or I've actively gone out to seek art and I love it. So I save it in here as reference. And it's not like just necessarily going on Pinterest and looking at other people's art, because that's great too, but this is gathering the reference. Evernote is reference that I've already dealt with that I like, and I would like to be able to use it at some point or take something from it and learn from it. Right? And that's pretty much the workflow. And again, you guys can go through and just check it out. I know this one, I'm going to start wrapping it up here because 20 minutes is getting pretty long for like a short video here. But that's pretty much how it works. As for, I guess the Trello method, if you really want to see how I did that, check out the longer version. I would show you here, but I want to keep it under a little bit of wraps here. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. I highly recommend you, please check out some of this stuff. You might like just one of these apps. And if that's all it is that helps you get more stuff done or get more time, what you're trying to look for. It's just seeing what you have, putting those blocks in those pieces. I did a video called the Pomodoro technique. You can start to see, now that you got all this stuff, what do you need to do today because you've already worried about it. You can start plugging in that time where you need it. And that, for me anyway, has been phenomenal. And just keeping on top of all the stuff that comes at us daily, let alone the stuff you actively go out to try to get. Okay, so I hope this helps you get productive. I hope you get a little something out of this video. If not, please share it around. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope this, again, helps you guys get more stuff done. So until next time, you guys, keep reading comics, keep making comics. I'll talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.